What's up everybody, it's Anomaly. I'm down here in my basement getting a shovel because today I'm going to try to dig up my 20-year-old time capsule. Do you guys remember that really cool Fairly Odd Parents movie Channel Chasers where Timmy travels through the different TV shows? Well, there's a scene right at the end of that movie where they flash forward 20 years into the future and Timmy and his children discover his time capsule. So at 4 years old and very much inspired by this movie, I buried my own time capsule, which I'm going to try to dig up today. So Channel Chasers was released on July 23rd, 2004. So whether I caught it the day of or one of those reruns they usually play the next few days, I thought what better day to dig this up than exactly 20 years later, July 23rd, 2024. There are 3 things we must consider before starting. 1. Will I even be able to find it? I remember the general area where we buried it in my yard, but will my digging be precise enough to unearth it? Or will I be a little too far here, a little too far there? We'll see. 2. Even if we do find it, you think the container we put the stuff in lasted for 20 years? 20 years is a long time. That's a lot of storms, both rain, snow, insects, and pests that could have had their way with it. Do you think the container's still in good shape? And finally, 3. Even if the container did last, do you think the stuff inside did as well? I put 3 things in there, I'm pretty sure, of which I only remember 1, maybe 2. So the things we find inside are going to be a surprise both to you and me as well. Here on this paper, I wrote down my guess for what I think is inside the time capsule. Later on, we'll compare it to what we do find in the time capsule, should we find the time capsule at all. Before we start, I just want to shout out my dad and older brothers for helping me bury this when I was 4. Shout out to mom too, because I'm sure she helped orchestrate this. But yeah, I truly remember burying this when I was 4, so thank you guys for making my childhood very special. And with that, let's start digging.
Okay, I think back here is the place. Let's see if I find anything. Had to go grab a pair of gloves. So I think I just hit it. Let me be really careful digging this up. Let's get it closer. This is about how much I've unearthed so far. As you can see, the container is still pretty well preserved, though of course it's deteriorated. The general shape is there, and it looks like, it's still holding pretty well. I found it. Alright, so after about a half an hour, 40 minutes of digging, I uncovered the time capsule. I could still hold it. I see stuff inside. Let's take a look.
Okay, it only took about 40 minutes of digging and I was able to uncover the time capsule. As you can see, it's in pretty good shape. It still has its form. I'm still able to pick it up, move it. And all over is like a caked up layer of what appears to be rust maybe. But I could still see the items peeking through in these holes, right? So I'm excited to open this up and see, what lasted, how many things were in there, what's in there. Was I right in my prediction? Without further ado, let's try opening it and see what's inside. As we can see, the cap's still in good shape. It was still sealed on. Throw that to the side. Ooh. Item number 1. So item number 1 is a Thomas the Tank Engine. As you can see, it's blue. Number 1 on there says Thomas. So yeah, trying to think back, I think I remember putting this in because I happen to have 2 of the main Thomas blue ones. So I threw 1 in here because I had another one that I could still put in. Yeah, I remember these, with the magnet on the back, you could attach them together, have a lot of fun. Thankful that my parents got me a lot of these. And I had the whole train table too, I remember that. So item number 1. To the back. As we keep going in, I see an action figure like thing. What's this? It's action figure like thing. Looks like a wolf. You know, a wolf man. Okay. This is item number 2. Spinnable tail. I'm not sure what this is. It looks Power Ranger-esque, but you know, it's blue. I'll have to do my research on what exactly this comes from. But I would say it's an action figure. That was item number 2. After that, we have a sealed bag. So as you can see, a lot of weathering, you know, a lot of residue, but there's something inside. Let me see if I can extract it out of the bag and what shape it's in. Trying to be careful as to not rip this. Okay. I'm not too sure what this was. I don't know if it was pictures and got all damaged by the weather. You know, was it a note and I left myself a message or something? These are kind of unable to be identified at the moment. Before I recap, I'm just going to look through this last layer of dirt on the bottom of this and residue to see if there's anything hidden in there, any small items or trinkets. And you know what? That appears to be it, honestly. That was it. So as you can see, this was the coffee container that I used. Looks like it says Maxwell House, blue container. I remember my mom, you know, using these back in the day. And right, it's been 20 years. I don't know how many rainstorms, how many snowstorms, plus, right, just different temperatures, you know, and this stayed in holdable shape, stayed in pretty much almost, right, fully intact. And these holes, not gonna lie, it might have been, right, a little weak when I was puncturing with the shovel trying to like locate this. You know, when I first located this, might have aided in expanding the size of these holes, or I don't know if they were already there. So just to recap, there was a blue Thomas the Tank engine in there. You know, I know this is the main character, the main guy, Thomas himself, you know. Alright, delete some of those. Alright, I can still get the wheels to spin, you know, just barely. Seems like there's a lot of dirt caked up there. Maybe some rust. But yeah, as far as condition, right? 20 years spent underground, so many storms, so much weathering, so much temperature change. This guy is in good shape. It looks like its original form, just with a little rusting on the magnets in the front and back that connect to other trains. A little hard to move the wheels, though I think that might ease up if I just get them gone. But the Thomas is in, right? You can still read the Thomas, so very clear, right? The color, you know, the paint job, or however they got the color on, right? Looks good. The face, right? Still, right? Intelligible that that's Thomas, right? You know, it's in good shape. This wolf guy, I'm not sure, you know. I knew my older brothers had a lot of like Power Rangers, you know, Power Rangers and other old superhero action figures, you know. So maybe they just gave me this one, you know. I'm sure I probably wanted to put Billy the Blue Ranger in there or something. Maybe they just gave me this one to suffice. Like I said, I don't think this is right. I know Billy is the wolf, right? In the Power Rangers movie. but this doesn't look like Billy. I know what Billy looks like. This doesn't look like Billy. I'm not sure who this wolf man is, but here's his face. Here's what it looks like again, all around. Tail spin still. Legs still move. Arms still move all the way around. And this thing lifts up. So as you can see, there's a little damage there from weathering, but overall, this thing stayed in very good form too. Of course, faded away, but still looking somewhat like what it probably looked like when we put it in there. These things here didn't last. Whatever these were. There's four boys. I have 3 other brothers. So yeah, at that time my youngest brother Justin would have been born, because that was 2004. So maybe these things represented the 4 of us. That's just a wild guess. Of course I'm not going to be able to confirm nor deny that, or what these things were. They're completely damaged. One more final close-up of this container. How it held up. Alright, top. It says easy open top with fresh seal. Locks in flavor and aroma. Maxwell House. And right. The top still seals on. It comes on and off. So it's very cool. But yeah, let's compare what I found to what my predictions were and recap. Like I said, before going out, I made my predictions of what I thought would be in there and wrote them down on this piece of paper. Let's compare what I wrote down to what was actually inside the time capsule and see how I did. So what this says is, number 1, what I think is in there for sure, blue Thomas train. And that was in there. So it's cool that I remembered that after all these years. Number 2, what might be in there, blue Power Ranger. We did find something very Power Ranger, superhero, action figure-esque, but it wasn't actually, Billy the Blue Power Ranger, which I was going for with this prediction. So these weren't too bad because, right, this one I was very confident in. The blue Thomas train was in there. These weren't too bad. If you remember, in that final Channel Chaser scene where Timmy's with the time capsule, he's married, he has 2 kids. He did a lot of big things in that 20-year span. I was only 4 when the film came out compared to his 10 years old. So 20 years later after that, it's 30. So he had 6 years on me, compared to my 24 years of age right now. And marriage and children are 2 things, Lord willing, I hope to experience during this lifetime. But even with all that being said, in my own personal 20-year span, I've done a lot of big things too that I would like to share with you. So in the 20 years since burying this time capsule, I graduated as the valedictorian of my high school class from Dr. Cortland V.R. Creed High School. I got accepted into 6 Ivy League schools, including Yale, Harvard, Princeton, Cornell, Columbia, and Dartmouth. And I ended up at Yale, where I graduated from in 2022 with a degree in psychology with a focus in neuroscience. I served as the student member on the New Haven Board of Education from 2016 to 2018, served about a 2-year term, and experienced a lot of great things, met a lot of great people, became aware of the infrastructure of my city's education system, right? I grew to have a great passion for basketball, started playing organized basketball in the 5th grade. By the 8th grade, we had a great year. We went 9-3. I had a lot of great games. And I even hit 2 buzzer beaters, one to send the game to overtime in the regular season, and one in the playoffs to win the game. So those basketball memories are memories that I'll keep with me forever. And I was even able to continue playing in high school. I played at Creed High School and was able to work my way up to varsity. I scored points on varsity. Not many people get to say that, right? Playing in high school, it's a little tough, right? Everybody's going out for it. So to say there was somewhere in my city I was able to play high school basketball, I'm blessed to say that, I experienced that. And finally, I started a music career. So while family and friends may know me as Jacob, a lot of you tuning in may know me as J Anomaly. I've been releasing music consistently on streaming platforms. I've gotten a few write-ups and blogs, and one of my songs, For Show, was even played on college radio. Just like I was passionate about basketball growing up, this is another thing. Actually, equally as long I've been passionate about, but I didn't really showcase it to the world until, leaving high school. But I'm glad to really be doing this, for real now. I have to say, it's been a really great 20 years, and I only hope the next 20 years are even better should the Lord bless me with 20 more. And with that, thanks for watching.